The trains were invented or started becoming very, very popular and used a lot in the late 19th and early 20th century. It allowed people to get from one country to another and from place to place and shipping cargo and so forth in ways that had never been seen in the world before. And that's also how this country grew, is, by railroad and expanding in this way. And when you go to a train station, even to this day in Europe, there are all kinds of people that take the train. Even people from that place. It's not just tourists, it's not just people who work there. The train is an integral part of everyday life, kind of like New York City with the subway. The last time, or one of the previous times I was in Italy, I was taking the train somewhere to northern Italy. I don't remember if it was a time with my wife or if it was a time after college. But I remember going to the train station and seeing, Catholic nuns and priests. You see students coming from other parts of other countries. You see, of course, tourists like I was at the time. I happened to sit that day, even though I was in Italy, I was sitting in the same area as a French family. And across from me was this just adorable little girl, maybe like 3 years old, maybe 4 years old, who honest to goodness, maybe an hour was just talking to her mother in French while she was trying to read a book. I didn't mind at all. She could have gone another hour as far as I was concerned. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. But in any case, as you take the train, of course, you go to these spectacular places, the water, the mountains, and so forth. And again, all kinds of people use the trains, whether in Europe or here or anywhere, to go to where they need to go. Interesting, when we talk about destinations and we talk about how we get there. In Orthodoxy, we believe that all of us are on some kind of a journey, and we all have a way to get there. And when we talk about the destination that is salvation, the church has said an awful lot about this and has written an awful lot. The saints of the church have preached an awful lot about this. And Orthodoxy believes that when one is on this earth, one is on this side of the kingdom, one has an opportunity to grow, and in the spiritual exercise, to grow as a Christian, to grow spiritually, and to grow closer to Jesus Christ. After we pass away, we are not still doing that spiritual exercise. We don't believe in purgatory, as the Catholic Church does. We don't believe that there's an in-between spot when we continue working on our salvation. And yet, even though we no longer are working towards that destination, others can for us. What do we mean by that? Well, after someone passes on from this life, they may not be able to do any more for themselves, so to speak, even though they are very much still alive. They are very much still in a relationship with us and with God. But their work, in other words, is done for their own salvation. The rest of us take the baton and we continue praying for their salvation. And I don't know how that works. I don't know how that process exactly happens, and I don't think anyone does but God Himself. But we do know that the prayers of all people for the departed, the church invisible, that is, by the church visible, are very powerful and avail much. And so when we do memorial services and when we say prayers and we give names to the priest at every liturgy or perhaps at every Saturday of Souls, we give them for our own family, but in reality we are praying for everyone. St. Paisios said when he was asked this about Yeroda, should we give koliva and should we do these kinds of memorial services? And he says, absolutely yes, because these things, to use another metaphor, are the best lawyers that our people have, he says, before God. Pun intended, Father Deacon, present company accepted, of course. But he says, when we pray for our family, why would we just pray for a couple of people, he says? Why would the train just take, again, St. Paisios' words, why would the train go to its destination just with one passenger? He said, we need to put all the passengers on the train. We need to get everybody on there, he says. We pray for everyone, not just our own family or one family member or two family members. We should think of everyone that we can possibly think of, friends, family, etc., everyone in the church. And of course, the prayers of the memorial service do entail all of the people who have passed before us. In other words, to load up the train with as many people as we can. To load up the train with as many different kinds of people as we can, so that the train may go to its destination, according to the saint. This is what we are praying today, my brothers and sisters. This is what we are praying for today. Always remember that the prayers of the Orthodox Church, the Church itself, we talk about it as an ark of salvation. You may have heard that term before. Whatever kind of vehicle you want in your metaphor, the Church certainly is a train that is moving on its destination. And there is room for everybody. Not just one or two or three, everybody. Every different kind of language and all those things, just like I mentioned, when you travel through a place like Europe or wherever. But the train has plenty of seats and plenty of spots for everyone. And so when we come together today, or whether it's not Saturday of Souls, even if it's just the anniversary of a loved one's passing, it is very, very powerful to offer prayers and offer a memorial service for the departed. Because we believe that in that way we help them get on the train. A quick little tangent of something I read this morning. St. Simeon of Thessaloniki described the different, you know how we have different periods of time for memorials to be offered. I mean, they can be offered any time, but there are famous periods of time like 3 days, 9 days, 40 days, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, and then each year, okay? However we want to do it is fine, obviously, and it can be offered at any time. But there have been times when even I have been asked, so Father, why 9 days? And I'm scratching my head going like, well, I know there's 7 days in a week, and I know the church has 8 days in the eschaton, in other words, in the kind of future, in the eternity, if you will. But I'm not sure about 9 days. St. Simeon of Thessaloniki, I just read this morning, kind of as a quick tangent, explained these things. We have 3 days, he says, because of the Holy Trinity, because we are saved by the Trinity. We have 9 days, he says. We say prayers at 9 days because the orders of the angels who the departed then join are 9 orders of angels, he says. And then 40 days because at 40 days the Lord ascended. And then at 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months, again, because they are factors of 3. So again, the Trinity. And then every year, you know, the 12 months. 12 is a number that we experience, that is also a factor of 3, but also that we experience in the church as well. So, and we hear it often, quite often, 12 days, 12 baskets, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles, etc., etc. I thought that was very interesting, a little bit of explanation. Okay, close parentheses, that ends the class. Back to the sermon portion. May we always remember that the prayers of the church, our prayers for the departed are very powerful. And again, only God knows how those prayers are relayed to Him, how those prayers go to the departed, to our loved ones, but they do go there. And they do mean something, and they are very powerful. And even if that person is no longer working for their salvation, we are working for their salvation. And I can only hope that my family will pray for me one day when it's my turn as well, and for all of us. May we always remember the powerful prayers of the church every Saturday of Souls and every day that we celebrate and think of and pray for our families. God bless you.